Good afternoon and welcome to the official launch of Connecting Wales. Prynawn da a croeso i chi gyd I lawnsiad swyddogol Cysylltu Cymru. My name is Rob Thomas and I'm the Managing Director of the Vale of Glamorgan and I'm currently the Chair of Solace Wales. I also chair the Connecting Wales board that has overseen the exciting development that we are launching today. All issue of housekeeping before we start, and specifically for those of you who are using subtitles. The technology is excellent when translating one language into another, for example, Welsh into English, English into Welsh, and I hope you find this useful. However, on Teams, what you will notice is that when someone jumps between languages, as I will do on a few occasions this afternoon, this does cause confusion. Hopefully, this won't be too much of an inconvenience, and I'm sure that with time, this is something that will no doubt get resolved on this particular platform. So can I start this afternoon by welcoming the Welsh Government Minister for Housing and Local Government, Julie James. I'm delighted that you've been able to join us for this briefing and this launch, and being able to take time out of your extremely busy schedule during what I know is a very challenging time for you and your colleagues. So a big thank you. Diolch yn fawr iawn. We also have with us today Sam Hall, who is the new Chief Digital Lead Officer for Wales, and Sam is less than a week into her new important role. Welcome Sam, croeso, and I am grateful to you for joining us today for this launch. Also joining us is Richard Pennington, CEO of our technology partners Fournet, who have provided fantastic support in getting to this point. Welcome Richard, croeso. I'm also pleased that we have so many colleagues joining us virtually today from across the country. Obviously, we would have preferred to have our official launch in person, and we have been delaying this event in the hope that it might have been possible to get everyone together in one large room. Clearly, that is some way off, unfortunately, so here we are, better virtual than ever. Some of you on this call have had a hand in getting Connecting Wales off the ground. Some of you are involved in the services we are currently offering and designing, but I realise that for many of you, joining us today will be your first detailed look at seeing and hearing and understanding what Connecting Wales can do and is doing already. Although the platform was not designed with a pandemic in mind, and was long in the design stages before any of us had actually heard of COVID-19, it is certainly helping Wales and its citizens through the pandemic in various ways. Since the platform went live in January, with the Vale of Glamorgan as its first customer, a lot has changed. Wales, like the rest of the world, has been living with COVID-19. On the one hand, the virus has created a greater need for people to work from home. It has also caused healthcare professionals to rethink A&E services at Cardiff University Hospital to protect staff and patients. It's led to the launch of additional services to ensure that the elderly and vulnerable in our communities within the Vale of Glamorgan are looked after. And while the pandemic has discouraged citizens from using public transport services, new passenger-tailored services have been created in several locations across Wales. So the common factor linking all of these examples? Well, each one of them has been made possible because of the speed, the agility and the connectivity offered by Connecting Wales and the platform of Connecting Wales in establishing new contact centres and shared services quickly. Beth yn dilyn yw fideo byr sydd yn esbonio sut mae Cysylltu Cymru wedi sicrhau gwasanaethau effeithiol I cwsmeriaid yn ystod y misoedd diwethaf. So what's following is a short video which explains what Connecting Wales has achieved over the past few months and how it is helping to bring about better services for Welsh citizens.
If I can just check, will you need an appointment for St David's for Sunday this week as well then? No problem. All right then. Take care. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. Bye.
The Connecting Wales platform is a cloud-based contact centre platform, and it allows calls to be routed to agents across multiple sites or at home.
Hi, Judy Clare, Vale Social Services. How can I help? The ease of using the technology, it is just simply logging in every morning, and then I am logged in throughout the day. I don't have to worry about any connection issues or accessing anything. I log in once every morning. I have access to all the Vale Council's services that I need to use to help vulnerable adults. It's been much easier to support my family because obviously with lockdown it meant the schools closed. I have a 5-year-old. So I had to be home to look after her because there was no childcare available. And obviously we've had quite a trying time as a family. My husband was taken ill through lockdown. He actually had 2 operations. So it meant it was easier for me to be at home to help look after him when he came home from hospital as well. Okay, thanks very much. Cheers, bye. So we're the first point of call for adult services. So all the calls come in via the council. They then are put through to what we call our queue in adult services, and then a senior social worker will then allocate me and the girls I work with our work, and then we just work through that on a daily basis then.
Mae cwsmeriaid gallu cysylltu ni'r un modd o'n cysylltu ni o trwy gweithio yn y swyddfa. Yn y tir un peth sydd dynnu, mae systemau wedi sorto a i jyst yn gweithio'r un peth.
The main opportunities are allowing public sector organisations in Wales to keep pace with developments in technology and being able to take advantage of those, being able to ensure that they reflect their customers' expectations about when and how they can access public services, and not just calls but actually other channels such as web chat, social media, emails, and also delivers other technologies. The Connecting Wales platform allows customers to access the contact centre booking service so that they can call the contact centre, and then the contact centre will look at the availability of the bus service, book the customer on the service, tell them when the bus will pick them up and where they'll pick them up from, and provide updates in terms of how close the bus is. Connecting Wales allows us to scale up services really quickly, either through quick and easy configuration of new contact centre services, but also increasing resources. It's quick and easy to do because of the flexible licensing structure. We can flex up when we need additional resources, and then we can reduce those licensing requirements whenever we don't. So it's really a super efficient way of working.
I think the service that we provide now is better for vulnerable adults. They get calls back quicker, we can access more services because more volunteers have come forward to help us as well within the Vale. And I think my colleagues will agree that through the last 6 months, our service has got better and we contact people quicker than we have done before.
Ni'n gallu siarad yn Gymraeg, cysylltu â ni trwy'r we, neu ffonio, ni gyd yn gallu siarad Cymraeg. Mae popeth y digon lwydd yn gwneud yr un peth math a siarad y Saesneg.
The shared vision for Connecting Wales was always to deliver new technology and shared services for local government and other public sector organisations in Wales. When the idea of a shared platform was first mooted, it was the result of discussions at Customer Focus Wales about the collective need across many local authorities to upgrade or replace ageing communications and contact centre technology. That, coupled with stretched public sector budgets, the need for more efficient working and rising customer expectations, led to what we see and are celebrating here today. Connecting Wales is a shared communication and customer-facing contact centre platform. It allows much greater collaboration, for instance, between local authorities and health boards, as we have seen in the case of Vale of Glamorgan and Cardiff and Vale University Health Board. It helps us to maximise the use of resources while gaining the very best up-to-date technology at much lower cost than one organisation could possibly achieve individually. It is helping to transform digital services for local government and provide improved services and access to services for citizens. It is a shared solution, scalable to all 22 Welsh local authorities, as well as other public sector bodies across multiple locations. And because all councils are already on the PSBA network, getting set up on Connecting Wales is swift and easy. We currently have 5 contact centres on the platform, 140 agents covering 5 council and health board areas and serving more than 700,000 citizens. Because it is a cloud-based solution, agents can potentially and easily work from home, as we have seen. That means employment possibilities in rural and remote areas, reducing the need to travel, and an important and improved work-life balance. To put it simply, Connecting Wales is in pole position to easily facilitate the Welsh Government's new ambition to see 30% of workers doing so from home. And of course, with the Welsh Government's dual language targets, it is a fully dual language solution. Again, as we have seen, with public sector bodies able to thereby providing the best possible service to citizens. Before I hand over, I'd like to take a moment to thank members of our project board and other stakeholders who have all helped to push this platform's success. Colleagues from the Welsh Local Government Association, colleagues from Soccertim, the Society for Innovation, Technology and Modernisation, and from Solace, the Society of Local Authority Chief Executives Cymru. To all our colleagues at Phonet for providing the technology solution and also helping us to grow and develop, and you'll be hearing from their CEO shortly. I should also mention our colleagues at Wrexham Council, which along with the Vale of Glamorgan took the lead in building the initial business case for Connecting Wales, and is due to join as a customer shortly. Special mention goes to Tony Curlis and Fiona Johns from the Vale, who have led on the initiative for the Vale of Glamorgan Council and also collaborated across Wales to raise the profile of the initiative. Diolch yn fawr I chi gyd. Thank you to you all. And of course, a big thank you to the Welsh Government for being the catalyst for this transformational digital project, for funding the initial pilot and for their support in making Connecting Wales a reality. Diolch y galon. And on that note, I'd like to welcome the Minister for Housing and Local Government, Julie James, and invite you to say a few words. So Minister, over to you. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Rob. Thank you very much, Rob. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a really serious pleasure to be with you this afternoon, to be able to give Connecting Wales the official opening that it richly deserves. And as Rob has just said, we were very pleased to have been able to provide the initial funding for the service through our Local Government Digital Transformation Fund, and to give it the support necessary to ensure that Connecting Wales goes on to be the success that we know it will be. I'm particularly pleased to see Sam here as well. She's only just joined us, so it's great to be at the launch of something like this with our new digital officer for local government as well. It just shows the kind of commitment we've got to this kind of transformational agenda across Wales. So welcome, Sam, as well. I'm also really pleased that the platform is growing and performing all these vitally important tasks we've just seen, helping citizens, public sector employees through the pandemic. It's something I say often. Rob will know because he meets with me very often, but you know, the pandemic has shown us things that we knew were possible are possible. So we knew that these things were out there, but it's accelerated the progress in a way that's just been phenomenal. And this is the time to grasp that opportunity. I mean, that many great things to come out of the pandemic, but this opportunity is very definitely one of them. So, you know, the vision is one that I very much share: an efficient and digital future for local authorities with greater collaboration, better cost sharing across the public sector, hugely improved access to services for Welsh citizens, and providing an equal footing for the Welsh language, as Rob said. I thought the enthusiasm from the people speaking in the video really shone through as well. It's absolutely great example of what can be achieved when local authorities and the private sector work together. It's delightful to see it going from strength to strength, and the collaboration between local government bodies as well as increased innovation and better services for their customers is one of the big benefits. So one of the things I really want to see is the public sector being a shining example and allowing more employees to work from home. As Rob said, we've set a target of about 30% for that. Contact centres are a great place to start with that. The technology available through Connecting Wales platform for public sector staff will provide as good, if not better, services, as was said in the video, from home, while improving their work-life balance. And that last one we're particularly keen to do as well. It's absolutely essential that people have access to the technologies they need to enable them to work in the best possible way for the citizens of Wales to perform the best public services, but also to do it in a sustainable way that allows them to get the best out of their work-life experience as well. So all in all, this is a brilliant project, and I really, really hope it the greatest of success into the future. Looking forward to it rolling out across all 22 local authorities as soon as we can get them on board. Can I just end by saying I'm really sorry I can't stay with you for the rest of the day, but it's been a really great opportunity to come and talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to going into more detail about it in the days and months to come. So diolch yn fawr, thank you very much for inviting me, and see you all soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Minister, for those words of encouragement. Diolch yn fawr iawn, and thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your involvement and your attendance this afternoon. As you say, I appreciate you have other matters to attend to, and I understand that you do have to leave, but thanks again for joining us, appreciated. I'd now like to hand over to Richard Pennington, the CEO of Fonet, our technology partners, without whom we would not have made the progress that we have in such a short space of time. The support and guidance has been second to none, and I and my colleagues are extremely grateful for that. So Richard, over to you, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Rob for his kind introduction. I've got a lump in my throat now, Rob, after that. Whilst it's a little strange doing events of this type rather than in person, I'm really pleased to be part of today's event and extremely proud that Fonet is helping to power collaborative digital transformation across Wales. It's tough following on from such a great video and a great presentation from Julie James and from Rob. But over the next few minutes, I'd like to elaborate a little more and give you a little bit more insight into the Connecting Wales cloud service and some of the opportunity that this presents for the Welsh public sector, and also provide a little more information about the experience of Fonet in this area. Connecting Wales is a fantastic opportunity for the whole of the public sector in Wales to connect and collaborate, to share resources and best practice, whilst at the same time improving the services to the public and reducing the cost and the risks. The service is part of what we call our Community Cloud programme. It's a cloud communications platform designed and managed specifically for the sole purpose of the Welsh public sector. As we've seen from the video, it enables citizens to communicate with and access services by whichever means they feel they want to, or which is appropriate. The technology access availability includes phone, email, web chat, social media, all via self-service portals such as natural language speech recognition and increasingly chatbots. Along with this, we've got agent productivity tools such as call recording and quality and workforce management, which really helps, especially when the agents are working from home. Some of these technologies might normally be economically out of reach of a single organisation in isolation, but the power of the community cloud means that we can take advantage of economies of scale to deliver the latest advanced technologies which might otherwise be too expensive. There are numerous key benefits to the Connecting Wales service, some of which were discussed by Tony and the team in the video. And these include the ability to scale up services very quickly, both in terms of numbers, but also features and new technologies. Also, we have the ability for agents to work from home as easily as if they were in the office. Currently, the up-to-date research is suggesting that obviously during this current pandemic, most people are working from home. But even when the situation subsides, hopefully in the near future, we don't ever envisage that things will go back to being the same. And then the anticipated significant increase in home working is expected to continue in the future. The Connecting Wales platform not only provides the benefit and flexibility to enable this, but also to improve the job and recruitment opportunities for those in rural and remote areas, and also for those physically less mobile. Further benefits unique to the Connecting Wales Community Cloud are the ability to engage in greater collaboration and integration across the different organisations and bodies, combining and sharing skills and resources across the whole of the Welsh public sector and working together to improve services. An example of this includes leveraging the skills of the Welsh language speakers across different authorities. Another example is where the Vale of Glamorgan currently have people trained on the workforce management tools available through the platform, and are able to help other authorities implement and manage this technology moving forward, obviously reducing costs. The video also talked about some of the technologies the platform provides access to, but it doesn't stop there. As part of the programme, 4Net continually update the platform, keeping the software up to date, what we call evergreen, and also introducing new technologies. A great example of this is in light of recent COVID first lockdown, we've seen the introduction of Microsoft Teams being rolled out across many organisations, both in the public and private sectors. And 4Net have worked quickly and hard to develop a Microsoft Teams capability, an integrated contact centre that is now available through the Connecting Wales platform, showing that we can meet and adapt to quickly changing demands. The Connecting Wales platform is proudly powered by and managed by 4Net, and we have a rich experience in delivering similar services over the last 10 years. Most notable and successful of these is Antenna, our community cloud platform we developed in conjunction with the Prime Minister's office at number 10 Downing Street. Antenna is similar to a similar community cloud platform and service to Connecting Wales, that started 5 years ago and now has 32 government departments and over 30,000 users sharing the latest communications technology and benefiting from the economies of scale, best practice, and a platform purpose-built for their needs. Antenna offers a unique and unparalleled service across government, and now also to the wider UK public sector, and as you would expect, is highly secure, resilient and scalable. Many of the learnings we've taken from delivering Antenna we've experienced over this last 5 years, we've now adopted in the new Connecting Wales service, and Connecting Wales is benefiting from these. Further benefit of both Antenna and Connecting Wales is how easy they both are to join and to start using. As a ready-built cloud service, they can be easily accessed, but also both services are able to be procured through pre-agreed frameworks. This means that the time, effort and cost to procure is greatly reduced, and the ability to enjoy the service and the benefits it brings are available much more quickly. My final points, just before I hand back to Rob, is to thank Rob and the team at Vale of Glamorgan for leading the charge and becoming the first customers on the service, and for making Connecting Wales such a growing success across the country. We at 4Net are delighted that Cardiff and Vale Health Board and Transport for Wales will soon be joined by Wrexham and hopefully many other customers soon on the platform. We also have a proof of concept running with the SRS Shared Services team, which will benefit numerous authorities. And finally, I'd just like to thank you all, and if any of you have any questions either for myself or the wider 4Net team, please don't hesitate to ask either today or drop us a call or email moving forward. And with that, I'd like to say thank you and hand back to our host, Rob Thomas. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Richard, and thank you for that deeper look into the role that 4Net are playing in the platform. So before we come to any questions which you may have, I just wanted a brief word about the current and new developments on the Connecting Wales platform. As you know, we already operate 2 contact centres for the Vale of Glamorgan, and the solution includes the use of the latest workforce optimisation tools, which ensures the optimum use of resources and personnel. At the height of the pandemic in the Vale, we also established a new crisis support team with a crisis support line to provide advice and support to our most vulnerable citizens. Cardiff and Vale Health Board also established, again through Connecting Wales, a new crisis response team back in the spring to arrange COVID-19 testing for key workers and patients who were due for surgery, as well as for care home staff. The platform hosts CAV 24/7 for Cardiff and Vale Health Board, which is a pioneering telephone triage service for urgent but non-emergency care. CAV 24/7 levels out peaks and troughs in workload for clinicians. It also ensures patients are kept safe and only attend A&E or other clinics when they can be treated. This service is being seen as an exemplar of good practice, and we expect, and indeed we encourage, many other health boards in Wales and elsewhere to look at this sort of service in future. It really is the way forward. Here is Danielle James, Operation Manager at CAV 24/7, to explain it in a bit more detail.
For patients, they're being seen first place, right time, in a timely manner. It's about them accessing the service that is best suited to their needs. And for our clinicians, they're being able to have an oversight of the patients and being able to help them again by signposting them, providing with the patient with help or assurance over the telephone. From the time that we had the idea of CAV 24/7 to go live, it was 9 weeks. There was a number of things that we had to work through, including telephony systems and IT systems, etc., and making sure that we had the clinical pathways in place for the patients. This work was never to stop patients accessing the right service. It was more about patients accessing in a timely manner and also in a safe manner. Because of COVID, we didn't want full waiting rooms. We needed to ensure staff safety and also patient safety. So it's about managing that flow and making sure patients and staff are safe.
Okay, is also helping to deliver remote working in RCT for call centre handlers, which meant that employees were kept productive during the peak of the initial lockdown restrictions. Connecting Wales has really come into its own during the pandemic, although I do confess that we never expected when we went live in January to have to move the bulk of our employees to home working in a matter of days. The platform is also creating commercial possibilities. Take the Flexi Uber for buses style service that's being established by Transport for Wales. It's delivering COVID-safe, socially distanced public transport by responding and catering for the passenger and not being restricted to a timetable. The platform is also perfectly suited to urgent regional and national responses to major events. We are already talking to one potential customer about Connecting Wales hosting a mass vaccination service for when a vaccine is available. And we expect many councils and health boards to follow suit. The platform is ideally placed to set up services quickly and efficiently and to share resources. It's designed for that very purpose. It's been built to scale quickly, it's agile, it's ready to grow and connect more of Wales. Nawr, mae'n bryd cael sgwrs ac ymateb I unrhyw cwestiynau. That brings us to your questions, and for this purpose, we have a panel ready to take your questions and any discussion points. So the panel consists of Tony Curlis, who is the Vale of Glamorgan's Customer Services Manager and Lead Officer for Connecting Wales, Richard Pennington, the CEO of Fonet, who you've already heard from, Sam Hall, Chief Digital Officer for Local Government, who has kindly agreed to chair the Q&A session. So I now hand over to Sam to take us through this session, and thank you, Sam, diolch yn fawr, for joining us so early on in your new role. It is really, really appreciated. So Sam, over to yourself.
Thank you, Rob. This event has been hugely informative for me in my new role as Chief Digital Officer for Welsh Local Government. When I was interviewed for the role, I was asked what I hoped for local government in Wales in the coming 3 years. And I said that I really hope we will have built great services, challenged and recharged the digital culture in our local authorities, that we will have developed and adapted and adopted a blueprint for affordable, adaptable and sustainable services designed around the user. And everything we do will be both customer centric and citizen connected, making the best use of advances in a whole range of internet age technology, data science and intelligent digital tools. If we can do this, we can truly say we're on our way to becoming Digital Nation Wales, a great place to live, work and do business, with supportive, accessible and adaptable public services. From what I've seen of Connecting Wales, we can certainly show we're taking that journey seriously. And as I've got control of the questions, I'd like to ask one here. I'd be really interested to know, Tony, what's the most inspiring thing you've seen that's made you think this is good, this is going to make things better for us?
Thanks for the question, Sam. And I guess it's kind of difficult really to pick out one moment. I was really encouraged when the steering group met for the first time, because I knew we had a fantastic group from WLGA, SOCTIM, Solus, and of course our technology partners, 4Net, that could really drive the project forward. But the reason that I'm so enthusiastic about the project and why it exists in the first place is to improve services and deliver better outcomes for our citizens. So the point at which I felt most enthused and confirmed to me that Connecting Wales was going to make things better was during that initial response to COVID. So the speed and the ease at which we were able to design and deliver new services. We've talked about the crisis support line, supporting our most vulnerable residents, so they could have access to food and medication and that their well-being was looked after. We've talked about CAV 24/7 to support patients and protect accident and emergency services in Cardiff for Cardiff Vale Health Board. And of course the Flexi demand responsive transport service, which allows vulnerable customers who rely on public transport to be able to travel in a convenient and safe way. So it's seeing the improved services and better outcomes for our citizens at a time when they most needed our support, which was the kind of most inspiring point of the project for me to date, and which really made me think that, yeah, this Connecting Wales project is going to make a big difference for our citizens.
Thanks, Tony. That does actually sound really, really inspiring when you lay all those things out like that. Before I hand over and we actually pick up some of your questions, I've got one more, which is just to really satisfy my inner geek. And it's one for Rich, really. You've mentioned how we use cloud to deliver this wide range of services. What do you think that cloud will allow us to do better in the future?
I think as the guys have already explained around what we're delivering using cloud at the moment, there's been some fantastic strides made, not necessarily in the best circumstances over the last 9 months to deliver services quickly, effectively and responsively. I think what we'll see more of in the future, from a technology perspective, we're seeing chatbots and artificial intelligence start to be deployed, and I think we'll see more and more of this, which allows the people within our teams to focus on the things that need their attention and take some of those simple processes away from them. And artificial intelligence and chatbots will play a big role in that moving forwards. And the benefit of a community cloud is that once one organisation has deployed that, we can roll out easily across multiple other organisations, and also, as I mentioned in my presentation, that around the economies of scale in terms of doing so. But I think what the really exciting opportunity for cloud and what we can do is that it's an enabler. So it's really down to the imagination of the organisations involved to be able to look at how they can collaborate more effectively and operate as a single virtual team, sharing resources and skills, and really coming together as a single entity and to improve services to the public. And I think that's really where the exciting piece is that the opportunities are really endless.
That's brilliant. Thank you. That's a really good answer. I love the idea that it's basically only limited by what we can think of doing with it, and so that's a brilliant position to be in. That's from me. Over to Andy now, our lovely question master. Do you have the first question, please?
I do indeed. Yes. So we've had some good questions coming through. One here is who can use the framework and who is it open to?
Right. I think that maybe that's one for Rob to answer.
Yeah, I think the simple answer to this, and it's going to be a quick answer, is any public sector organisation. So we often think about councils developing systems for other councils or for themselves. The key message here is this is a system for the whole Wales public service. So any public service organisation can tap into this system. And the more the better, because that's where you get the resilience, the capacity and the economies of scale. So any public sector organisation, and that really does chime with what you hear from Welsh Government in terms of, you know, the One Wales public service. This really fits well with that concept and that desire to drive that forward. So simple answer, any public sector organisation.
Wow, thanks, Rob. That really is an open door, really, then, for people to get involved, which is great. Okay. Next question, Andy.
Yeah, and we got another one here. It is, how can using the technology help improve services to our residents?
That sounds like that's right up your street, Tony.
Okay, thank you. I guess the key thing here is that the service is aimed at developing collaborative services, so we can make use of economies of scale, as Rob has just mentioned, and create better services for our customers in doing that. It also meets the requirements of the Welsh language, obviously, which is really important, and it provides for increased resilience. So being able to share resources and access maybe scarce resources. So Welsh language is one of those, but there are other kind of scarce skills and resources that we'd be able to access.
Thanks.
Sam, do you mind if I come in as well?
Oh no, of course, Rob.
I think the key one for me, and a really good example of how it can improve services, is what we did in the Vale in the height of the pandemic, with the need to connect with our vulnerable residents when vet residents had to shield, for example. It was a really effective way of organising our back office function so that it was done as efficiently as possible, so no one fell through the cracks. And having that team set up virtually, but also set up with the necessary infrastructure behind it, meant that we were able to react really quickly. And another good example, I guess, a topical example, is what's happened with the CAV 24/7. Because if you think about COVID and you think about the way the infection spreads across communities, the way Cardiff and Vale Health Board have been able to take their A&E service, not to an appointment service as such, but more akin to an appointment service, where they can stagger visits into that environment. They can manage patient demand. They can manage testing beforehand. And we heard from the video earlier, those are really two really good examples where circumstances have dictated that we've had to change the service that we've delivered, and we've delivered it really quickly. And that sort of links into what the Minister was saying earlier about the fact that most local government services and health services over the last 9 months, they've been able to react really, really quickly. You can only react quickly when you've got the infrastructure behind you. And that's what's helped us certainly to react, is having that Connecting Wales platform to make it as seamless as possible, and to make it as efficient as possible, and to be able to deliver at pace. So those would be my takeaway points from this afternoon, those two examples.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. They are really, really good examples. And I think from just from that, it's one of those tip of the icebergs where we really need to do that, understand more about all the services that we supply across Wales, and understand more about how this could make better solutions for them. So I think that it is this huge open playing field of us understanding those services and being able to make use of these collaborative and connectable tools again. Andy, have you got another question for us?
I do indeed, yep. So we've got one here. Everyone knows Microsoft Teams is being adopted by many public and private organisations. Was I right to hear that contact centres and associated solutions are also available with Connecting Wales?
Rich, I guess that's one for you.
Yeah, I'm happy to pick up on that one. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, as I suggested when I was talking, the growth in Microsoft Teams has been exponential in the last 9 months. We've got lots of stats on that. Fairly limited users going back to the start of the year, but it's just exploded over the last 9-10 months. So we've worked at pace, working within our technical teams and with Microsoft and some of our other technology partners. So we've now embedded a Microsoft Teams capability within Connecting Wales, and we're integrating our contact centre services into Microsoft Teams, so we can help both in terms of with organisations to roll out Teams, but also integrate that contact centre technology, so that we can deploy both and take full advantage of the full stack of Teams and contact centre.
Yeah, I think that's great to know. I think Teams has now become a go-to for most public sector, and whilst other collaboration tools and connecting tools are available, Teams appears to be here to stay, and it's definitely the package that people seem to have got very comfortable with very quickly, which is a good thing. So we wouldn't want to dilute people's use of Teams now. So I think that's really good that we've managed to work to integrate it. Andy, do we have any more questions?
We do indeed. We're getting a lot coming through, so thank you for that. How does the platform meet Welsh language standards?
Right, who's best to answer this one? Is this one for you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm happy to pick this one up. Thanks, Sam. This was alluded to in the video actually that was part of the launch today, in that as we've seen the development of new technology, things like chatbots, web chat, all of those facilities are available bilingually through Connecting Wales. The other real advantage here is that the more we can get to collaborate and the more we can get to join Connecting Wales, the more we can share resources. So, for example, if there's an area where they have a shortage of contact centre operatives that speak Welsh, you can tap into other councils' areas through Connecting Wales, so you can share that resource. Basically, it's as simple as that. You could argue, well, why can't we do that anyway? But what Connecting Wales does, it gives us that agility to be able to do that and to be able to do it quickly. So that would be the main advantage. The other advantage, of course, is as we move to an environment where we're all working virtually, people can be available for roles and opportunities that they might not otherwise take up, because people are increasingly working from home in more remote rural areas. So this is a win-win for not only the Welsh language, but also for the environmental and the sustainability credentials of the way we're doing our business in terms of moving forward. So yeah, the biggest plus point from me out of all this is the way we can collaborate, the way we can share resources, and also added to that, the technology behind the scenes is fully bilingual and has been developed with that in mind. Quite simply, it's a statutory requirement, so it had to be developed with that in mind. So it's all very, very positive from my perspective.
Thanks, Rob. That's a really comprehensive answer for that. Andy, I'm sure you've got some more questions and we're rushing through.
I do indeed, yeah. Okay, so here's a probably one for Richard. Where is the data stored and located? Obviously a hot topic.
Sorry, straight to me. Yeah, no, I can quickly cover that one off. The platform's hosted in geographically resilient data centres purely in the UK. So none of the data goes out of the UK. So it's all UK centric. The platform itself very secure, bolted down as you would expect, regular pen testing, and we also offer an integrated PCI accredited payment portal as well. So where that data all stays in the UK, but also improves the security and reduces the effort needed for the authorities.
Right, thanks for that, Rich. I know that PCI compliance was a huge hurdle for a lot of councils throughout the country, really, as it descended on them and people were starting to take payments at home by credit card, and actually, and obviously the technology was there to support it, but was the information and the data guidance behind it that ensured people were doing that securely. So it was a really hot potato, and it's really good to know that that's baked in and the hot potato baked into the solution we have here. Andy, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, we do. So here's one regarding chatbot. I know we mentioned AI and chatbot as part of the conversation. We have our own chatbot. Is it possible to retain that and use that as part of the platform deployment?
Hi, Tony, I think you've probably had some experience with this.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Well, the short answer is that although part of the Connected Wales portfolio of products and services includes chatbot and AI capability, the platform's not limited to that and can integrate with other third-party solutions if that's the preferred option for any potential customer. So absolutely, you can retain your own chatbot and use it as part of the platform.
Great, that's great. That's good to know. Thank you. And Andy, I know we're getting close to time now. So do we have any others?
Yeah, we are. Let's have a look in here. So here's one from, we've got a name against this one. So this is from Jamie. Good afternoon. As we know, many local authorities provide different services. Some of these services are administered differently across each authority, which for Connecting Wales to work, all authorities would have to adhere to similar process for each service. How would you envisage engaging with local authorities in Wales to streamline all of its services? So that might be for Richard and Tony between them, I guess.
I think it's probably it's a good question, and I know it's certainly one that that I've wrestled with actually as Chief Digital Officer for local authority. And I think the simple fact is that whereas lots of services are different and they're delivered differently, people should be able to expect the same level and consistency of service. We can't expect that people will never move and they will never use a different service in a different council area. So there needs to be some level of consistency and some level of expectation and quality. So I think that's definitely one that I will look at, and I'll certainly be looking to address as CDO in local government. But Rob, did you want to comment on this as well?
Probably one for somebody who's more technically in the know than me, Sam, if I'm brutally honest on this one. But in terms of the streamlining point, that's a really good point, and in terms of your point that you raise about the consistency issues, yes, wherever you are in Wales, you deserve the same level of service. And a key thrust to what we've been talking about this morning, we've been talking about the Connecting Wales platform, but one of the factors that comes throughout is the need for efficiency and the need for customer service and the customer interface to be right at the center of what we're doing. If we're not going to improve the service to the customer, then there's no point doing this, is there? That would be my take. Yes, we can talk about saving money, which is important. Yes, we can talk about working more efficiently internally as organizations. Yes, it's very important. But ultimately, I would argue that improving the service that's available to the customer is at the heart of this. And with that, that's what it'll get us, because we're collaborating more, and the more that come on board, the more we will collaborate. So that would be my point, but it's not a technical answer, I'm afraid. but others may be better than me at providing that technical answer.
Okay, well, thanks. That's really interesting take, Rob. Tony?
I don't have a technical answer either. I'm not altogether sure it's a technical question. I think the key thing here is that the Connecting Wales platform breaks down some of the barriers that have prevented us from developing collaborative services in the past. And the Connecting Wales platform will enable those collaborative services to be delivered, but there's got to be the will to deliver those services, or it's employing the platform whenever there is a good business case or a good rationale for delivering services across 2, 3, 4, 5 different councils or nationally. But the key thing is the technology is the enabler. The other side of things, in terms of developing the collaborative work, is the kind of policy and cultural side of things.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Tony. I think that's a really good take on it. That it isn't just about the technology; it's about the willingness to adapt and to take advantage of the things that are in front of you. And sometimes we can be a little bit, maybe a little bit siloed around our approach. And I think absolutely everywhere feels a little bit like that. So to be able to see something and to do something like we're doing today and showcase the opportunities is really, really quite enlightening for a lot of people. I think we're probably getting close to time now. I'm not sure, Andy, if there's one very quick question you've got left.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're getting lots of good questions, and also we will get these answered probably in a different format, so we're not going to get through everything. Another anonymous one. I guess agents log into the platform to handle calls. What happens if the call needs to be transferred to an office, i.e. an extension number outside of the cloud platform? Can calls be transferred out?
Is that one for you, Rich?
Yeah, I can pick that one up, and I think the simple answer is yes. We can easily do an off-platform transfer, whether that be manual or automated, depending on what the requirement is. And just adding to some of the answer for the previous one, pretty much anything we can enable anything regarding the technology. Sometimes it may require some additional technology in place, but our ability to dip into a variety of databases means that we can automate some of these functions. So transferring off the platform is pretty easily accomplished by just looking up a database and seeing what we need to do with it, and taking some rules into account as to when an agent's not available. And likewise, dipping into the previous question, bringing authorities together. I think probably the biggest technology challenge is probably the availability of data and access to data for different authorities across those authorities. So, but there are ways and means to overcome that, either creating a single direction that everybody heads down, or alternatively we can layer in a database or CRM platform that pulls that data together and provides access to the relevant information, either on a complex or a simple basis, depending on what the service is that's being delivered.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rich. I think that's a really, really good point. The better the data is that we have at our disposal, the better decisions will be that we'll make. We're always going to have choices in public service. We'll have choices to make, and some of them are quite difficult. The better the quality of the data we have, the better we'll make those decisions, and hopefully the quicker we'll be able to make them as well. So any platform that enables us to access and tap into richer data is a win for me. But then I'm also a data nerd, so probably would. I think we just have a minute or so left. So if there are any very quick questions, Andy, if not, I'll hand back to Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I could just add to that other one as well. With the Vale of Glamorgan, we've actually done an integration into the back office PBX, so calls can be passed to legacy enterprise platforms, so that works fine. We can absolutely do that as part of the deployment. So apologies for me chipping in there, but got another one here then. So this is a good one. Does the solution integrate with existing council CRM solutions or seek to replace it? Yeah, or seek to replace it. And if the latter, will it integrate with the council's back office business systems?
Oh, again, I think it's probably another one for Rich.
Yeah, I should have put my technical head on today. The simple answer again is yes. I mean, there obviously it's a very simple answer. We obviously need to understand what the systems are. There's a broad opportunity for different types of systems, bespoke systems, etc. But generally, yes, we can integrate in. We're not looking to replace. However, we can layer on, as I've mentioned before, if we need to bring some of this data upwards and get it into a position where we can access it more easily, we can also do that and layer on top of the existing database if needed. The simple answer is yes.
Great, thanks for that. That's really interesting.
Sam, I know we're short of time, but I just wanted to pick up one because I know this is a Q&A session, but I think discussion is allowed as well. So I'm gonna ask it anyway. One of the key issues for me when I was talking earlier about CAV 24/7, sorry to mention that again, but it's quite a topical example. What's really topical at the moment is, you pick up a newspaper, you listen to the news, this issue of the vaccine for COVID-19, and the really strong desire about getting a mass vaccination program out there. And one of the thoughts for me, again, totally not technical, so apologies, but one of the key issues for me is the ability that Connecting Wales has to help in that regard, because what you have here is a platform where you're able to take appointments, you're able to look at something at a local level, a regional level, or a national level even. It doesn't matter what level it is, you can take those appointments. You've mentioned data, Sam, several times. And if you've got that data, you can target particular sectors of the population early. You can ensure that appointment systems are given and are up and running. And really, something like a mass vaccine program, Connecting Wales is made for that, I would argue. And I don't know, I know time is short, but from a technical perspective, Richard and Andy, I'd have thought Connecting Wales would have been ideal for that. It's something I mentioned earlier when I was introducing today, so I just thought I'd pick it up because it seems very topical. Yeah,
I thought you were going to dip in there, Andy, but yeah, so absolutely, Rob. I think it's a great opportunity to do something that's of massive value to the public, and the platform is ideally suited to be able to do that. We can respond quickly, enable agents, set up new services very quickly, and as you said, I mean, data is key. But we've got the capability to either dip into existing systems or as I said before, create effectively a mini case management or CRM platform that pulls that data out and handles it easily. So yeah, I mean, that'd be a fantastic opportunity to work on any of those programs and provide some real benefit.
And I guess from my perspective, I think about what we did in the Vale when we had resident shielding and we were organising food deliveries through Connecting Wales. We've heard about the public transport booking system, which we're delivering for Transport for Wales. It's no different really. It's about getting the service in the right place at the right time without any hiccups to the people that matter, isn't it? It's exactly the same principle.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Sorry, thank you for that, Sam.
No, thank you. And it is, as you said, it's really topical, really important. And actually, if we want to get our society back to any kind of normality, we have to make it work. This isn't going to be one we can have a few goes at. We're going to have to work out the best way of doing this as quickly as we can, because we all want our society to be as, back to it's some kind of normal, and to be able to do all of the things that we want to do as a community. And we currently aren't able to do so. That's really, really important. So thanks for bringing that up, Rob. That's really all we've got time for on the questions today. But thank you everyone that posed questions. Thank you for the panel for answering them. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else has really enjoyed it too. So just going to hand back now to Rob, who's going to wrap up for us today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sam, and thank you also to all the panelists for their contributions. And again, thank you to the Minister for joining us at the launch event. A big thank you to our technology partners, Fonet, for helping to put this event together as well. It feels great, although ever so slightly odd that we've done so much over the last 6 months, yet we are only now being officially launched, that there's a good reason for that. On the one hand, it's great to get a ministerial launch and to be able to prove that Connecting Wales is already making a significant difference across the country. It's making a difference to citizens, to patients, to medical teams, to vulnerable residents, and to call agents and council staff who are able to work from home and who are also not able to provide the same service, but also a better service, and that's really important. I hope you feel that we've showcased what Connecting Wales can do for you and for the communities and the public sector organisations across Wales. We really do feel that we are at the pioneering end of sharing services, technology and skills. Thank you for your questions. I'm sorry we didn't manage to get through them all, but we will respond to as many of them as we actually can after this event. If you have any further questions, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with Tony. His details will be coming up in a while. And also, if you're a member of the press and have any questions, our press teams are standing by to answer any questions you may have. Their details are coming up too. For now, all that's left for me to say is thank you for joining and goodbye. Hope you found it useful. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi gyd a hwyl fawr.